David and Georgia Cotton, a divorced couple, introduce the movie by talking to their friends about one another. They believe that because they entered into their marriage too quickly and disregarded advice from others, they now resent one another to the core. As they prepare for their graduation ceremony, their daughter Lily is getting ready with her best friend, Wren Butler. Lily claims to her parents that they are not seated close to one another, but David and Georgia quickly realize this is not the case, and they immediately start arguing and competing for Lily's support. The following morning, David and Georgia drive Lily and a groggy Wren to the airport as they go for a trip to Bali. Then, in an attempt to avoid ever having to see each other again, David and Georgia gave each other passive-aggressive farewells. Lily and Wren are swimming in Bali when they become separated from their boat and must begin their attempt to swim back to the island. They are discovered by a charming local boy named Geed, who immediately strikes up a romantic relationship with Lily after rescuing the girls in his boat. Geed extends an invitation to her and Wren to go dancing at night, and as they spend more time together, they get to know one another better. Lily expresses her feelings on her graduation, and Geed informs her of his occupation as a seaweed farmer. Lily joins Geed as he tends the seaweed in the morning, and it is obvious that they are now in love. David gets in touch with Georgia after more than a month because Lily informed them, both via email, that she and Geed are now engaged. They agree that it is a bad idea because she has only recently met the man, but they board the plane to Bali nevertheless. Before another passenger seats between them and overhears them complaining about their failing marriage and how they believe Lily is rushing into things, they are both unhappy to realize that they are seated next to them other. They also discover that Paul, Georgia's younger boyfriend, is the flight's pilot. Georgia and Paul spend time together at night, which causes some difficulties. Once on the island, David and Georgia agreed to a short-term ceasefire, their Trojan horse plan, in an effort to persuade Lily that she is committing the same error they did before they got married in the hopes that she will call off the wedding. Before boarding a bus to visit Geed and his enormous family, which includes his parents and sister Lucy, they first meet Lily and Wren. David spends some time with Geed and learns about seaweed farming from him, but David is open about his belief that Lily will resolve matters on her own. After they've settled into their rooms, David heads to the bar by himself before Wren joins him. She offers her support to Lily because she appears happier than she did in college, and then she queries David about what transpired about him and Georgia. They used to spend their summers at a lake house, and David says he wanted to buy it when it was put up for sale. They started fighting and losing interest in one another over time, and David kept hoping the lake house would save his marriage, but then it burned down and he gave up on it. The families are preparing for a ceremony the following day that will involve an exchange of rings. Georgia uses a clever banana ruse to divert the children so she may steal the rings and conceal them in her purse. When it's time for the ceremony, Lily and Geed are disappointed to discover the rings are missing, and Geed's cousin starts to cry. However, Lily reassures her and everyone else that everything will be okay. Although he seems to hint that he is aware of what David and Georgia did with the rings, Geed brings the Cottons and Wren into the ocean to go swimming with dolphins. As soon as they enter the water, a dolphin rushes full speed toward David and bites his leg, requiring everyone to get into land so he can treat his wound. Later, Geed drives them to a market where he directly begs David to give back the rings because he is aware that Georgia and David are attempting to ruin their relationship. When David and Georgia return to their rooms, they begin to dispute once again over how they raised Lily and how David was the fun dad and Georgia was the strict mom. David and Georgia try to grow seaweed on their own in the morning. Lily, Wren, and Geed witness a light-hearted contest to see who can collect the most seaweed. After having a ceremony because Lily and Geed now have new rings, they go to a bar to relax and play beer pong. Lily feels embarrassed by David and Georgia's enjoyment playing and dancing while they are intoxicated. Geed also overindulges and starts to throw up. David awakens in Georgia's chamber, completely exposed to the waist. The fact that Georgia was surprised by Paul for whatever reason, which forces the two of them to change rooms to avoid suspicion, because David opens the door to Georgia's room, complicates matters further. Geed warns Lily that Tanalot is cursed as everyone makes their way around the island in that direction. In an attempt to propose to Georgia while there, Paul is bitten by a snake and rushed to the hospital. Georgia and David accompany Lily and Geed on a hike to a hilltop with a spectacular ocean view, but their boat floats away since David moored it to a log that is also drifting away.